Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be tying a 3/4 parachute Mayfly Nymph emerger, and this is a dangerous little fly. I've tied it in very small sizes because I'm crazy cuckoo caca sometimes, and I grab little size 22 hooks and whip up these little fandangled creations. But this is a very dangerous fly indeed. What I've done is wrap some brown thread up to the bend of the hook, and right at the bend, right where the hook starts to bend, I'm going to build up a mound of thread. Alright, you're not going to be able to see it on the camera, but I'm just keep wrapping in the same spot, right as the hook starts to bend there. And then, so I got a little mound there, and then what I'm going to do is, oh boy, these are hard to get off of here. Put so many hackles off this thing. I'm going to rip off some hackles and use them as the tail. Get them all lined up here. Okay, so now that I've got these little hackles ripped off, got a decent length to them, I'm going to tie them in right. I'm going to start tying right in front of that loop, or that, not that loop, but that mound I just created. Okay, so you want to stick them on there, see about how long you want them, then grab them from behind and start tying them. Put them at about a 45-degree angle to you, and go loosely around, and then get tight once you've got it in place, and tie in right in front of that mound that you just created. And that's going to cause these hackles to be fanned out. It's going to make them splay out in a very natural way that the fish are used to seeing when they look at nymphs and things. They don't just have their tail all bunched up in one little bushel of hackle feathers. They splayed their tails out. Alright, so that's the fan tail. That's a well-kept little trade secret there. I learned these techniques being deployed in this fly from the master, Gary Borger, just by visiting his website. He is the man. Anyways, when you're tying up these 3/4 parachute hackled Mayfly Nymph emerger deals, you don't want the dry fly's body to be very thick. You want to keep it skinny, because it's not in the water, it's not trying to look like it's got gills coming out, and plus the adult is crawling out of it, so it's going to lose some of its thickness anyways. So we just wrap it on there pretty thinly, keep a thin body for it comparatively to most Mayfly nymphs you tie up. So you keep it thin, using like a reddish brown colored dubbing here. Then what I'm going to do, there it is. I'm going to take some yarn, some polypropylene yarn. In this case it's a yellowish color, and it comes in this particular polypropylene yarn. You don't have to use poly yarn. I mean, you could use Antron, you could use, if you had blue or whatever. I mean, whatever you want, really. The fish isn't really going to be able to see it. Well, the fish will kind of be able to see it by the eye of the fly. That's why I kind of generally go with like a yellow. If you're imitating an olive colored Mayfly, for example, then maybe you're going to want to go with something a little more green or whatever. But in any case, what I'm going to do at this point is I've doubled it over to make it just a little bit thicker than it was, so it looks like 2 strands there. And I'm just going to clean up the head of it here. And what I'm going to do is, I'll get it, I don't know, I guess maybe getting it wet will do me some justice. So then I'll point it 45 degrees towards myself, and I'll wrap it on here. Wrap it back just like a wing for a caddis or something. Okay, so we've wrapped it on there, and there's our post. I'll take a wrap behind it, and then I'm going to take a I believe this is a partridge feather. A friend of mine gave me these, and they're kind of like a yellowish, grayish, almost like a bluish yellowish mixture going on here with natural colored feather. And really, you see a lot of parachute mayfly nymphs, and they got brown coming out around for the hackle, and that's just not right. I mean, these mayflies don't have brown legs when they crawl out of their nymphal shucks. So I don't know why, you know, Orvis and everybody else ties on these brown things. That's why the Adams fly, being gray, is kind of a drab color. The fish doesn't really, people think, well, the fish can't see color, or the fish can't tell, the fish don't know, the fish don't care. Trust me, you start fishing in a place where fish get caught every time, all the time, and they're going to start smartening up, and you're going to have to get more and more accurately matching the naturals. And, you know, just having an accurate facsimile of what they're eating is just going to cause them to hit with greater confidence in the end anyway. So what I'm doing now is just wrapping it around this post, sort of trying to make each wrap go underneath the previous one. And it helps to hold the post as you do it. It also helps to have your hackle pliers. But, you know, what you gonna do. Okay, so now that I've got that on there, I'm gonna take and make a sideways wrap, trying not to destroy the hackles. I've tied in there, and what wrapping around this post sideways is doing is basically cross-threading the hackle onto the post so that it can't go anywhere. So then I'll wrap up here by the eye, and I'll come in here and clip this off. And now I'm going to do something I should have done before I started wrapping that parachute hackle up. Now I'm going to have to put some dubbing in here, be a little bit more careful. Yet again, putting my hackles in danger of being eliminated. But yeah, I should have applied this dubbing before I wrapped that around there, just around the base of the post I just tied in and whatnot. Yeah, that's a little loose there. Remember, you want your dubbing to be pretty tight all the way up this sucker here. Okay, and I'll just wrap some of it up here by the head, give it a thorax. Okay, now the trick to this, what makes this a 3/4 parachute, is it's exactly what I just said. 3/4 of the fly is going to be parachute style. So what we're going to do is split the hackles right up here by where the post is going to be pulled forwards to form what would basically be like a wing casing on a mayfly nymph. You're doing that with your polypropylene yarn here, or your antron, or whatever you got in there. I mean, I've used peacock curls before to do this. Pull it forward, make a loose wrap right up here at the eye of the fly, and then tighten it down once it's in there, because you can't angle it at some 45-degree angle or whatever, so you don't want to slide around. And then we'll make a couple wraps ahead of it right on the bare hook so that it's really secure. And now that I know that thing isn't going anywhere, so I'm going to clip it so that it can be just long enough to cover the eye of the fly, like that. Basically looks like the adult crawling right out of the nymph body. And then I'm going to do 3 half hitches here, trying not to trap any hackles in there. And when you do a couple half hitches, you want to pull it backwards and reverse a little bit after you've done it, and that'll really cinch it down and tighten it up. And these half hitches work wonders when you're trying to secure your position on a fly, say midsection or towards the rear, and you want to go somewhere else and you want it to stay in place. Okay, and then we'll just set her free and pull these hackles forwards. Now you'll notice if you can see this, these hackles are splayed out in a 3/4 manner. Now that is also extremely effective for imitating a spent spinner with the right colors for the tail and the wings. That can be very dangerous, but also very effective for imitating the emergers. Now, where I go fishing right now, there's a really small little blue-winged olive hatch, and then right by evening, the spinners are on the water. And as the evening starts to come, the trout, it starts to get dark just as it's happening, and in the nighttime, trout are colorblind. All they can see is shades of gray. However, before it really gets dark, it's good to have sort of like orange wings or cherry red wings, because if you ever look at a spent spinner's wings with the sunlight shining on them, there's a red hue to them, a red glare that will come back at you, and that's why using materials like twinkle organza for the wings, or just orange polypropylene yarn or what have you can be extremely effective, because the trout, when it's looking up through those wings, that reddish color refracts back into their eyes. But as you can see, there is the 3/4 parachute Mayfly nymph with the fan tail, and that bad boy is pretty dangerous. I've taken many a fish with that emerger pattern. Alright, there she is, folks. Good luck tying her up. Happy fishing. Catch a big one for me. And we'll see you again next time. Take care.